kill, good kill.
Faster, MiG-29.
Our ground forces have not come under attack from enemy aircraft since the Korean War 65 years ago. Over that same period of time, we have routinely been able to attack enemy surface targets from the air regardless of opposition. This is because the United States has been able to maintain air supremacy, providing the freedom of action required by our warfighters to emerge victorious in the battle space. However, our claim to air supremacy is increasingly in jeopardy. Over the past several decades, our potential adversaries have closely followed the technological advances and employment doctrine that have contributed to our dominance in the air domain. Realizing this, potential adversaries have undertaken concerted efforts specifically designed to counter our air power advantage. The challenges we face today are growing in complexity and sophistication as our likely opponents continue to develop, produce, and deploy new technologies. As a result, we face increasing challenges in every domain relevant to air supremacy: land, sea, air, space, and cyberspace. One of the most pervasive threats, modern ground-based air defenses, has reached unprecedented lethality. Air power's ability to operate with near impunity in every conflict since Vietnam dramatically demonstrated the limitations of our adversaries' legacy surface-based air defenses. Since the first practical SAMs were fielded in the 1950s, our potential adversaries have relentlessly pursued their development as a means to counter American air power, which for more than 70 years has been the foundation of our military might. Over time, nearly every air power advancement we've fielded has been matched by SAMs, which have become increasingly effective against a broader array of airborne targets at longer and longer ranges. Bombers, fighter aircraft, remotely piloted aircraft, even cruise missiles and individual air-to-ground weapons are now vulnerable to the most modern air defense missile systems in service today. Both Russia and China are producing state-of-the-art SAMs, with other potential adversaries, such as Iran and North Korea, racing to imitate them. Shown are several currently fielded systems that directly challenge our bid for air supremacy. These modern systems can engage as many as 36 targets simultaneously, at ranges in excess of 200 miles. Furthermore, they are not tied to a prepared site. They are highly mobile, allowing them to relocate in minutes rather than hours or days. To illustrate the changing dynamics of the SAM challenge, here is the threat ring posed by a Vietnam War-era SA-2 SAM. It's located on the Washington Mall, with its short-range coverage reaching out nearly to Baltimore. Now we add the Russian SA-10 and SA-20, the same systems operated by foreign customers such as Iran and China. You can clearly see the dramatic increase in range. Next, we add the Russian SA-21, which has also been sold to China, India, and most recently Vietnam. Finally, we have Russia's next-generation SAM, the S-500, which will be capable of engaging targets as far away as Charlotte and Buffalo. As you can see, these systems are being deployed worldwide, and this trend will only continue as additional nations seek to neutralize our air power advantage. Russia and China in particular have deployed their advanced SAMs to regions where we and our allies previously enjoyed aerial primacy. Naval variants of these same air defense systems extend the potential threat to any place on the globe where our air forces operate. Not only has the long-range SAM threat grown more serious, modern tactical SAMs pose another challenge to our aerial freedom of action. Increasingly lethal Russian systems such as the Tor M2U, Buk M3, Vityaz, Panzer S2, Morphe, Igla S, and Verba imperil our tactical aircraft at low to medium flight levels, especially near adversary surface forces. China and other potential adversaries have also developed a stable of deadly modern tactical SAMs, now fielded with their own forces, export customers, and even terrorist groups such as ISIS. Consequently, our ability to provide close air support to friendly forces and operate freely at lower altitudes faces growing risk in any type of conflict. Throughout the Air Force's history, most of our aircraft losses have resulted from surface fire, including surface-to-air missiles. Since World War II, however, our success in defeating these threats has steadily improved in each successive conflict. With the proliferation of modern surface-to-air missiles, however, that trend is likely to be reversed in a conflict against any opponent fielding these systems. Moving on to air-based threats, the production and proliferation of advanced fighters poses another escalating challenge to our legacy fighter force, and even our newest fifth-generation aircraft. 40 years ago, only 3 nations possessed fourth-generation fighters. Within 10 years, fourth-generation aircraft had spread worldwide, including to several adversary nations. This trend continued over the following decades, which also saw the introduction of 4+ and 5th-generation fighters. Today, not only are 4th-generation aircraft continuing to proliferate globally, but potential adversaries are preparing to field and market their own 5th-generation aircraft. In the 1970s, the F-15 Eagle was built to be the world's premier air superiority fighter, and it held that title for a remarkable 40 years. However, it can no longer claim that mantle. Our potential adversaries are making significant strides in fielding the latest fighter technologies. One only has to look at trends in aircraft development over the past several decades to see where our legacy systems are being overtaken. Today, our most numerous fighters are outmatched by the latest Russian and Chinese designs. At every stage of modern fighter development, our adversaries have never failed to meet the challenges we present them with. Technologically, they've been increasingly successful over the years. Today, there's basically no distinct 4th-generation advantage we hold. Russia is at the forefront of advanced fighter technology development, but China is also rapidly moving forward with significant aerospace developments based on improvements to existing foreign technologies. Both countries continue to push the envelope, fielding more and more 4+ or 5th-generation technologies. Both Russia and China are willing to export these fighters to anyone able to pay for them, so the proliferation problem will only continue to worsen. No matter how you look at it, advanced Russian and Chinese fighters have already achieved parity or surpassed many of our previous technological advantages. Russia has recently fielded its latest flanker variant, the Su-35, a very advanced fighter that will help bridge the gap between their current 4th-generation fighters and future 5th-generation aircraft. The Su-35 incorporates numerous 5th-generation fighter attributes, such as advanced digital flight controls, sensor fusion, high-powered jammers, and ultra-long-range air-to-air missiles. This fighter is being heavily marketed, along with the new MiG-35 Fulcrum F, which shares similar 5th-generation characteristics. In the meantime, our potential adversaries have produced and tested their own inaugural 5th-generation fighters. Russia's contender is the Sukhoi T-50, which has been in active flight testing for several years. The T-50 was designed to fulfill the air superiority and deep precision strike roles, where its makers intend to outperform the F-22 and F-35 and compete on the global market. This advanced fighter is expected to be fielded by the end of 2018. China is developing 2 5th-generation aircraft, the J-20 and the J-31. Both aircraft are also in advanced flight testing and are expected to enter service by 2020. Russian and Chinese 5th-generation fighters are specifically designed to counter the F-22 and F-35, as well as to neutralize our airborne command and control and ISR advantage by targeting high-value airborne assets such as AWACS, rivet joint, and J-stars from standoff ranges. Some adversary fighters are also equipped with very advanced Russian engines that incorporate thrust vectoring technology. This technology provides significant dynamic maneuverability and turning capability. The resulting agility permits rapid reorientation towards unanticipated threats and ensures tactical dominance at close-in as well as standoff ranges. This matters, for the art of dogfighting is still relevant. As we had to relearn during the Vietnam War, air supremacy requires dominance at any range, up to and including the merge. To sacrifice mastery at any distance is to sacrifice air supremacy. The heart and soul of an air superiority fighter is its sensor suite, especially its radar. Russia and China have long built and fielded modern pulse Doppler look-down shoot-down systems with anti-jamming features. Some are capable of simultaneously tracking at least 10 targets and engaging 4 with advanced missiles. However, in the past decade, Russia has unveiled several active electronically scanned array airborne engagement radars. Also known as AESA radars, these powerful sensors reportedly can simultaneously perform multiple tasks, track up to 30 targets, while engaging 8 out to 100 miles, and provide improved resistance to electronic attack. China has developed its own AESA radar for its fighters, including the J-10 and J-11. In the air-to-air missile field, we have traditionally held the advantage of beyond visual range combat with our AIM-120 AMRAAM. That has also changed. Russia and China have both fielded AMRAAM-class missiles of their own. One can see the parity they have achieved in comparison to our current baseline AIM-120C. While the AIM-120D will restore us superiority in terms of missile range, both China and Russia are also developing follow-on missiles with significantly increased range performance. Future adversary missile designs are specifically intended to far outpace our reach in the air-to-air arena, directly challenging our AMRAAM superiority and holding our most critical airborne assets at risk from greater and greater distances, thereby taking them out of the fight. Enhancing our adversary's first-shot capability is their rapid integration of modern jammers, specifically digital radio frequency memory or DIRFM-based jammers. These jammers can capture and replicate at high speed our air intercept radar emissions. They can return a false signal, leaving our fighters blind at the most critical moment in the fight. Taken together, it becomes apparent that the size of the stick, or weapon engagement range, is no longer the only consideration in air-to-air combat. Our adversary's diligent investment in fighter weapons and electronic warfare has shifted the first-shot advantage into their court. Looking at other risks we face, one of the most challenging is the cyber threat. Our air and space systems are increasingly reliant on cyber connectivity and cyber-enabled capabilities. Russia, China, and others recognize the potential vulnerabilities of our cyber dependencies and are fielding dedicated and highly sophisticated programs to exploit and attack our military computer networks and platform-resident mission systems. We absolutely need these networks and systems to direct and employ our forces, and to lose them, even temporarily, could cripple our ability to fulfill our missions. Last but certainly not least is the issue of space superiority. The United States once enjoyed uncontested mastery of the space domain, but lost that luxury a decade ago when China shocked the world by destroying a target satellite with an interceptor missile. That event dramatically illustrated that space is no longer a sanctuary for us. Since 2007, China has conducted at least 4 additional tests of different anti-space weapons, while Russia has repeatedly tested its anti-satellite missile, the PL-19. Bringing it all together, we face significant challenges across the board. We can no longer operate with impunity against modern surface-based defenses. Current and developmental adversary aircraft threaten even our latest and best, while challenges in space and cyberspace negatively impact every Air Force mission area. Our potential adversaries have constructed a nearly impenetrable box that our legacy fighters cannot enter, one that even 5th-generation aircraft operate within at increasing peril, thus denying us the air supremacy we have so long enjoyed. And without air supremacy, we lose the most powerful warfighting advantage in history. If we do not make a concerted effort to revitalize our air supremacy enterprise, these challenges will only grow as our qualitative edge continues to ebb. This is not a question of dollars, but lives, beginning with those of our servicemen and women. In this kind of contest, there is no prize for second best.